1711 Fort Henry Drive, Fort Wright, Kentucky. I was born in 634 Highland Avenue, Covington, Kentucky. Place of interview is 1711 Fort Henry Drive, Fort Wright, Kentucky. The date of interview, August 21st, 2007. Branch of service was in the U.S. Navy from September 11, 1944 to July 2nd, 1946. My mailing address was Richard A. von Handorf, Machinist Mate 2nd Class, LSM 494, Fleet Post Office, San Francisco, California. You had a mark there for something. My serial number was 9786189. I was the fourth member of my family to serve in World War II. Harry served in the Navy with the Seabees in the Pacific. Bob and Joe both served with the Army stationed in New York. My younger brother Ed served in the U.S. Army in the Korean War with a family of 7 children, 1 girl, my oldest sister Rosemary, and 6 boys, and my parents and families prayed awful hard and long for a safe return. I was inducted into the United States Navy at Great Lakes, Illinois, following a train ride from Louisville. I was randomly selected for the Navy. I was assigned to the Camp Moffett Company 1805 boot camp, consisted of 10 weeks. They asked for volunteers to paint. I volunteered, which meant I was excused from most training, with the exception of firefighting, damage control, and water safety. The painting job consisted of many millions of heads, restrooms. The living quarters consisted of 2-story frame building with bunk beds 3 high. Inspection was an ordeal. The floors were white pine, plain white pine boards. I quickly learned to do the Great Lakes Shuffle, which was its place a piece of steel wool at the bottom of a shoe and shuffle back and forth and remove the black marks from the floor. The weather was strictly Chicago. I received 1 dress blue uniform, 1 white uniform, dress uniform, and 1 dress blue and white hat. The work uniform consisted of navy blue work clothes. I received 2 pairs of shoes, 1 black and 1 socks and underwear. The bedding was a mattress, 1 pillow, and 1 blanket. Sheets were giant pillowcases with drawstrings to cover the mattress. My grandson, Andrew L. von Handorf, served in the U.S. Navy from 2000 to 2004. He took boot camp at Great Lakes. I could not believe the same place. It was the same place when I attended his graduation boot camp. Can you imagine they now have fast food restaurants at the recreation center? In my day, I had calisthenics before breakfast, followed by scrambled eggs, fried potatoes, and coffee. I really had meat for breakfast. The terms was very public. Privacy was non-existent. I had KP duty, no KP duty because I was a painter. The pay was $21 a month. I received a 10-day leave following boot camp. I arrived home only to get very sick and spent the entire time in bed. I returned to Great Lakes and with orders to go to Gulfport, Mississippi. I arrived there on December 10th, 1944 for classes in diesel training. Okay, here we go. I traveled by troop train, better known as a converted boxcar. I had 6 hours layover in Atlanta, Georgia. I was hoping to do some sightseeing, but it was Sunday and everything was closed. At Little Creek, I had additional training on diesel engines. Thanks to my family, I met my cousin Larry Auckland from Cleveland, who was also stationed at Little Creek. I boarded my ship in LSM 494 in Houston, Texas. It was a new ship, and I participated in the commissioning ceremonies. I immediately began my cruise to the Panama Canal to Los Angeles. There we loaded pontoons for the Army to build temporary bridges and dock space on the various islands. It was an eventful trip with a stop in Hawaii. Everyone's anxious to see Hawaii. The main recreation was watching the hula dancers on Sunday afternoon at the Royal Hawaiian Hotel. I returned to Hawaii in 1980 on vacation, and one of the former dances from 1945 was still there. And the master of ceremonies introduced her and said she's one of the original hula dancers from Royal Hawaiian, but I didn't meet her. Looking for another foreign entertainment, the crew purchased a Bell & Howell 16mm movie projector. It was very good entertainment. We borrowed movies from the other bigger ships. The next destination was Saipan. What a thrill. I knew my brother was there, stationed there, with the Seabees. My sister Rosemary devised a code for our 4 brothers. This is how I knew Harry's location. I had served stand watch because the ship was anchored out in the water. We had to watch the generators and make fresh water for the bathing and all that.
Would you care to explain the code that your sister devised?
Excuse me. The code was girls' names that were not connected with a family. Like Alice meant one island, and Ruth or Betty made another island. Different girls' names. If we used that in the beginning of the letter, they knew what we were at that island or going to that place. Like same way in Germany, different cities in Germany, and all these different girls' names meant we were a signal.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
My sister Rosemary devised a code for our 4 brothers. This is how I knew Harry's location. I had to stand watch because my ship was anchored out in the harbor. My job was to make fresh water from salt water and watch the generators so we had electric power all the time. I received time off. I used a landing craft boat to go ashore to see my brother. The beer was rationed of 3 bottles per person per day per visit. I met a former classmate in grade school, Glenn Swiker, accidentally on Saipan. My ship had a crew of 60 men and 5 officers. The average temperature was 67 degrees with rain every day. I stayed in Saipan about a week. I left Saipan, which was a 1-day trip to Guam. Guam was a very large supply depot staging area where they accumulated ships to prepare for the invasion of Japan. I was stationed in Guam 1 week prior to the dropping of the bomb on Hiroshima. I left Guam for Okinawa because of the typhoon had hit Okinawa. I took tents to the Army because the typhoon destroyed all they had. I stood watch 4 hours and 4 hours off on the whole trip. I had some free time in Okinawa, so we went up in the hills and cautiously investigated the bunkers. There's concrete bunkers built in the hillside. They had machine gun nests in there and what have you, with hidden guns in there. And it was very dangerous. We shouldn't have been up there, really. I had no contact with the people there. The next port was southern tip of Japan, the island of Kyushu. Sasebo was a harbor. I received word that mines were in the water and in the harbor, and so we had to stand 4 hours off and 4 hours on, watch for some mines in the harbor. We stood up there with a gun in the dark trying to see these mines. We were supposed to shoot them and blow them up. Didn't see any of them. I was able to go ashore and see many very poor people living in extreme poverty. They had no inside plumbing. I helped acquire a Japanese suicide boat was 16 foot long, made of plywood. The Japanese put holes in the bottom of the hull so it rendered them useless. So we got plywood and sheet metal and patched them up. Got parts from the Army dump depot, generators and carburetors, and put them on these boats and made them run. The big news was when I heard my ship was given 100 cases of beer. It was divided with another ship equally. The big problem was how to cool it. We sprayed it with CO2 fire extinguishers before we took it ashore. I left Sasebo in the spring of '46 for home. While underway, the ship developed a hole in the hull, which was a piece of metal about 3 foot square between the I-beams of the ship, structural beams, and it fell out, and we lost it someplace and flooded the compartment. And that knocked out the power steering. So we had to stand in about 3 feet of water, swishing back and forth with a big wheel and turn the rudder to guide the ship. It was a little handle we used to push electric. It was all knocked out. So we had it fixed again and stopped at Weetalk and made emergency repairs. And it broke again. And when we docked at Los Angeles, California, where better repairs were made, I continued to Acapulco, where someone mishandled the ship and hit the wall of their new dock. Knocked a big chunk of concrete out of the dock, and I thought the Mexicans would declare war on us, but we made it. Then I traveled to the Panama Canal to Jacksonville, Florida, to Green Cove Springs. There were so many LSMs there and ships as you could walk across the river on the ships. The ship was decommissioned there, and I took a train ride home to Great Lakes for discharge July 2nd after having served 17 months at sea. Ensign Herbert Shelton was a 91-day wonder. He was a good guy as long as everything was going well. My first holiday overseas was Thanksgiving. We had a simple meal, no turkey, dressings, and all the trimming. The Navy served a lot of beans and canned chicken a la king. I earned 3 medals, which I have not received due to the medal shortage after World War II. They're listed on my discharge papers. They are an American Campaign Medal, the Pacific Area Campaign, and a Medal of Honor. I have not received due to I was here. Signs appeared everywhere in all the restrooms and all the bases. I was very fortunate to meet friends from home from overseas. Gil Hydrick was with the Marines on Guam. He was scheduled for the invasion of Japan. Jack Reynolds was in the Army on Guam, a cousin of my wife. John Zafke was with the Army on Guam. He was a friend of my Harry from New York, brother Harry from New York. The most popular contents received from family and friends were letters and candy and cookies and pictures. I had an experience with the Red Cross, which was excellent. They removed a cyst from my cheek as an outpatient. My religious experiences were very limited. My ship was so small and no chaplain. I was not given a Bible or any religious material. May 7, 1945 was the day the war ended in New York. I was on my ship sailing in the Pacific. August 10th, 1945, the bomb was dropped on Hiroshima. I was stationed at Guam, hoping and praying the war would soon end because I knew I was scheduled for the invasion of Japan. July 2nd, 1945 was the date of the peace treaty was signed with Japan. I was stationed in Sasebo, Japan, hoping for a speedy trip home. But which did not happen. It was a long wait with much time on my hands. That's it. Thank you.
That's good.
And what we'll do is we'll just do a couple seconds of this.
Mm-hmm. So these are done. Those are done.
Okay, who is this, Dick?
Which one?
This one I have right here.
Right there.
Yeah.
It's Gil Hydrick.
Gil Hydrick.
Okay.
It was in the brains.
He dead and gone.
And then we'll move this one in. This here's a picture of the same two fellas on board ship.
That's my brother Harry and I on Saipan on the ship.
Now, what time was this, Dick?
Please,
What year was this?
1945.
45.
Okay.
This is a swimming party off of the bow of the ship with the loading bow doors open and the ramp down. No life jackets. Didn't have it on the ship, I don't think.
Okay.
That's my parents' backyard on Highland Avenue. It was all raised. Mom's in the middle and Bill's on the left and I'm on the right side. Brother Bill.
Home on leave.
That's home on leave, yeah. That's my brother Harry's Quonset Village. That's where I went up to get my warm beer. He didn't drink beer, but I drank warm beer. That was on Saipan 45.
1945.
That's a Japanese ox cart in Sasebo, Japan. And things were very primitive there. That's Sasebo, Japan. It's an open storage ditch. And things were very primitive. And they still had the honey dippers over there too. I went around with ox cart and bailed out the outhouses. What's the picture?
Oh, here. No.
Gil Hydrick's on the right, and John Zafke is on the left. That was taken on a ship at Guam. That's Ensign Pugh from Joplin, Missouri. He was our deck officer, and that's some of his adopted kids, I think. The Japanese kids. That was our party barge to drink our beer on. That was in Japan, Sasebo, Japan.
1945. Yeah.
Hmm. It's a picture of the signing of the peace treaty with the Japanese, but I don't know any of the people's names, so I can't help you. That was taken in Sasebo, Japan harbor after the war.
This one, Dick?
That's my brother Harry and I. Pictured in front of us that Quonset hut on Saipan, 1945. That's a picture, christening of the LSM 494 in Houston, Texas, 1945. 44, 45, yeah.
Is there a date on that?
Whoops. Messed that up.
Wrong one, I'm sorry. Over here.
I'll do this page. Where is he?
Right here.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Press your phone, you look. These two will take care. These two will take care of both. You're in the Pacific.
All these.
They're about the same speed. This is 1964. This is
That was a booklet I received when I come out of the Navy. Finding a job, and I found my own way of making a living. It was a 52-20 club. You got $20 a week unemployment for 52 weeks. But then I said from friends I need some wallpaper cleaned and painting done, so I was doing that on the side, and I made a pretty good living. I bought a car and everything else. So,
while you were waiting to get into school.
and trying to get back into school, diesel school, yeah. It was a very small lot, 200,000.
Unbelievable. Expensive to live up there.
I said,